Hi again, it's Katie Yarwood from the MCC Library here for OneBook1County.com and MCC Reads. And I'm here with probably the fastest reader I've ever met, possibly in the universe, Dr. Michelle Gibson, who teaches biology and other sciences at MCC. And she's going to tell us about her reading experiences.
I can't remember not reading a book. I learned to read when I was pretty little, and since I was afraid to talk, books were a very good escape for me. And I remember in first grade, I got done with my work ahead of time, and my first grade teacher gave me the first Little House on the Prairie book. And I read it straight through, the little House in the Big Woods. And the entire series I probably read 15 times. I loved Laura Ingalls, and there was a TV show at 8 o'clock on Mondays, and I got to stay up and watch it. I was really excited about that because I'd read all the books. But I read every series the Ovid Public Library had. The Trixie Belden, the Nancy Drew, the Encyclopedia Brown, every single biography. I loved biography. Thomas Edison and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Read them all. Decided one time that because I couldn't remember or couldn't keep track of all the books I read, I would just start at the bottom, and I worked my way up the shelves. I think I read every book there. It's a pretty small library because it was Ovid, but read them all. My grandma every once in a while brought me a brand new book, a hardcover of the Bobbsey twins, and loved those books. And was so excited because I got a brand new book and it crackled when it opened, because the library obviously didn't have that. But when our high school was Ovid Elsie High School. There was two little towns, Ovid and Elsie. And when I was in high school, you got on the bus, one set of buses, one row of buses went to Ovid and one went to Elsie. And I would go to the Ovid, and at the junior high, the elementary school buses came and we all mixed and got on the right bus. But my dad taught at the junior high, so I would get off the bus and ride home with him, so I didn't have to ride home on the bus. But he couldn't leave until 3:30 because he was a teacher, and I would walk down to the library and get books, and he would come pick me up. 2 or 3 times during my high school career, he forgot about me and left me at the library. The problem is I didn't notice either because I was reading a book. So pretty soon the librarian, at 4:45 would say, "Where's your dad, Michelle?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? It's 4:45. Well, an hour and a half had gone by and I didn't notice because I was reading a book. And Dad didn't remember because I didn't always ride home with him, so I'd have to call him. And of course this ticked everybody off in the family because we lived way out of town, and for them to come back in and get me, it's not like I could walk home. It was 15 miles to home or something. And the librarian was ticked because she often had to wait past the 5 o'clock time because she couldn't leave a kid there, even though I was in high school. But I got left at the library a couple of times, and I don't know whose fault it was, Dad for forgetting me or me for not remembering, because I was reading a book. I mean, I read a book. I read all the time. One of the questions you asked was about a movie, and we had to read Gone with the Wind in high school. That was our assigned book. I memorized that book. The Tarleton twins wear green mint-colored sunglasses. Okay, and who remembers the Tarleton twins? And they were neighbors of Scarlett. Anyway, love that book and was quite excited. And I thought the movie did a pretty good job of actually being pretty close compared to, like you said, books are so much better than movies and they cover so much more. But that one, I think, that was one of the questions you had, and I think that one was pretty close compared to, some of the other ones. But I could read every day. If I had, another 3 hours a day, I'd spend it reading every time. And this book that you guys are doing for One Book, One County, it's about a donkey. Who doesn't love donkeys? I grew up on a farm and we didn't have a donkey, but that's one of the very few animals I didn't have, but they have a lot of character. They definitely have more personality than cows or pigs maybe even, and I love pigs, so